can't believe you two are doing media, man.
When I really looked at everything that you had, your resume, I was just like, damn, like, I was surprised.
You know, that's back when we were hand signaling every play. We didn't have the helmet stuff, and so in a lot of ways I was coaching and didn't know it.
You're a legend, a walking legend.
Hell, if I didn't get him the ball, man, he would just come stand behind me, you know. And
I feel like you don't think you're a legend, or you may not put yourself in that, in that category, but you meant a lot to a lot of people.
You may be the coolest podcast guy I've ever been with. So,
like I said earlier, we looked at your resume. You have a pretty lengthy resume. But 4 straight state championships at St. Pius,
yeah.
6,000 passing yards.
They throw for that in the season nowadays, right? You know?
So just tell us about that, man. Just like being, growing up here in Houston. To me, it's like you're a legend here.
I don't know about that. But, Dre, I grew up off Cavalcade 945, so I'm a North Side kid. And I grew up across the street from a YMCA. So really, when I tell people how sports kind of started for me, that was it. Because my dad was a construction worker. My mom raised me and my 3 sisters. But if I wasn't in school or I wasn't doing something at home for my mom or dad, and I was over at the Y competing, playing everything and just learning how to compete. So kind of all started for me there. And then I went to St. Pius, which was a big athletics type school. But I benefited, I think, from back in those days, and I don't know how it was for y'all, but if you played sports, hell, you played them all,
Right.
And nowadays guys get a little isolated in what they do. But football, basketball, baseball. If we didn't have a baseball game, you ran on track team, So that was part of my life.
So you went from St. Pius to Texas A&M, and then to become the head coach in the hometown you grew up in. Tell me what that was like, how the feeling that was for you.
First off, it was great, but it was a little stressful. Being a head coach in the National Football League's a tough gig, and you guys know that better than anybody. But to come to your hometown and try to do it without distractions, you know what I mean? With a lot of people, I had to get a lot of tickets, man. I had to have a lot of parking passes and all that stuff. But when I look back on it, it was as special for my family that time as it was for me. So, I wouldn't trade it for anything to have an opportunity to come here for where we started, and where we started. We had a long way to go. And we scared them a couple of times there at the end. We're pretty darn good. So it was a fun ride, and I really enjoyed it.
So obviously, you've been here with Dre. He's in the Hall of Fame now. What was it like the first time that you had a chance just to – obviously, you guys drafted him, watched a ton of film, scouted him, seen him at Miami do everything. But just to actually get him there, get him in practice, see him move around, and now you start to figure out what I can do with him as a player, schematically wise, things like that.
Yeah, when I got here, Dre, what were you, in your 3rd year maybe, I think?
4th.
You were in your 4th. Okay, yeah. So, when I came here with Charlie Casserly was the GM, and I sat down with Charlie. He was really good at what he did. I had a lot of respect for Charlie, and he basically told me, hey, you got a lot of work to do here. We got a lot of work to do, but you got a piece here that you can start building around and doing this the right way. So, J.Joe, the first time I saw him practice, all the great ones that I have ever been, I've never been around a great player who didn't work. And when I watched him work, it was easy for me. I didn't have to be the example every day. I just put him out there and tell him, you guys watch this guy. If we can get everybody doing it this way, then we got a chance. So really it was about his work habits. His talents speak for themselves, but the way he worked, the way he went about his business, gave us a chance to make up some ground in a hurry.
What makes it special about a player like Dre and a coach like you? Because obviously I'm going back to your time from Denver and all over. I've seen the way you guys call up plays and draw it up schematically, but when you have a player special like him to where a guy can post 1,500 yards consistently and things like that, does it make your job a lot easier or harder because now you don't want to force feed him?
Well, it makes it harder in a good way because, man, when you got a player like that, you got to figure it out as a coach, because hell, if I didn't get him the ball, man, he would just come stand behind me, and the guys up in the booth would say, hey, Koob, you see him standing behind you? I said, I know, I ain't got him the ball, but no, it's what you want as a coach, to sit down with your pad and pencil and watch a lot of film and figure out how you're going to attack somebody, and then me talking to Dre saying, Dre, you got to play all over the place, man, because if not, they're going to find a way to double you and take you away. So I started moving him. It was fun for me creatively, to do that. And he responded. Drake could go in a meeting room without a pen and paper, listen to you, take it right to the practice field in about 30 minutes. So not many players can do that. So it's a credit to him and his work.
Being in Denver and being backing up John Elway, how do you think that helped you as a coach?
Well, in a lot of ways, I was a coach, Dre. He didn't let me play very much, you know what I mean? So my rookie year, I was a first pick in the 8th round. So nowadays, I wouldn't have been drafted, right? And I don't know if you guys know that, but 1983 was that big draft. There's like 5 guys in the first round: Marino, Elway, Blackledge, Kelly. I'm missing somebody his size. All them guys. I was the only other guy next that was drafted. And that was in the 8th round. So there was a pretty big gap. But I went to Denver. Elway was drafted by the Colts. So I was in Denver about 3 days, and they traded for him. So I'm thinking, hell, I'm going to have to pay them to play. Man, I ain't going to make this team, you know. But next thing I know, they keep me. I was the 3rd guy going into my rookie year. John got hurt. Steve DeBerg got hurt. I got to play 1 week. Good things happened. Next thing I know, I backed him up for 9 years. So in a lot of ways, my career prepared me for coaching because – you know, that's back when we were hand signaling every play. We didn't have the helmet stuff. And so in a lot of ways, I was coaching and didn't know it.
You didn't play as much, but did you just feel like coaching was the next thing for you? Was it something that was it a goal for you to be a coach?
Well, it's what I was thinking I was going to do before I got drafted.
Right.
You know, to be honest with you, when I was leaving A&M, you know, I didn't know if I was going to have a chance to play pro football. So I thought about teaching and coaching. That's what I wanted to do. And, you know, I'd be darned. 10 years of playing got in the way. And then all of a sudden, when I decided to walk away from football, I was actually, Dan Reeves was our coach, and he said, listen, I want you to go to work for me. I want you to coach for me. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to do this, you know, I don't want to be given a pro job right off the get-go. I said, you know, let me go see how I like this. So I got a chance to go back to A&M and coach running backs.
Okay.
And I was bored. I was coaching running backs, man. I wanted to coach quarterbacks and watch a passing game, and I'm watching all this, you know, end zone film and stuff. But I fell in love with helping kids, and so I coached college football for 2 years. And next thing I know, Shanahan calls me and says, "Come to San Francisco." So, you know, my first job coaching in pro football, coaching quarterbacks, I had a tough job. I had Steve Young, and he's the MVP. So I got spoiled pretty quick.
You know, just looking at your family, your sons, what they're doing in the NFL, do you think that was something that was just kind of pushed on them because of, you know, you being a head coach, or you, because, you know, I've been able to see all of them, and I think it's something that they truly love doing.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, God, I hope I didn't push it on them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Dre? I mean, they were around me, obviously, every day. Yeah. I took them to training camp, made them work.
Right.
You know, and so they were around football. I kind of knew 2 of my boys would do something with football. I had one that swore he would never do it, and now he's been in Frisco for 4 years with Kyle. So, you know, I don't know. They could answer that question better than me, but they love it. They work hard at it. It's fun for me now that I'm out of the game. I've got more iPads than I ever had in my life. And I got the Niners iPads, the Saints iPad, you know. So I watch practice and I keep up with what's going on. But, you know, the shoe's on a different foot now. Now I'm the one that they complain to. You know, I used to complain to my wife and them when things weren't going good. Now they call me when they have rough days. So life kind of goes full circle. But I'm proud of them. They work hard. So hopefully they're enjoying what they're doing.
And I think, you know, like obviously talking about your son, I think the overall big picture, talk about like the coaching tree. Obviously you say you started with the 49ers. 49ers was my team growing up. I didn't know what a West Coast offense and none of this stuff was, but obviously as I came to get a chance to be a professional player, started to see, you know, Shanahan's offense and all that, and it still exists today, you know, just with McVay and all those guys. Just talk a little bit about how that coaching tree started.
You know, it's pretty cool, J.Joe. I mean, when I was a head coach here, my first couple of years, you know, you go into a staff room, right? All these staff rooms had this big desk, and so all the full-time coaches, they get the good seats and sit around the table, you know, and the head coach sits at the end. And then you have all these intern-type guys, you know, young kids that work for you, and they got a little folding chair, and they sit on the wall, and they sit around the room. And for me, the guys sitting around the room and the folding chairs were Kyle Shanahan, LaFleur, Saleh, McDaniel. You know, when I look back on that, I'm like, damn, man, I had no idea what I had. So when I go talk to coaches and stuff, I tell them all the time, I say, hey, guys, you got these staffs? But these young kids that are interning, and you need to listen to everybody because there's no telling what type of insight, what type of career they're going to have. So, I was just very fortunate to be around those guys. Dre was around Kyle. Kyle was a very, very bright kid, from the get-go. So just happy for them. Makes it fun for me, sit here and text on my phone, hey, good luck, you guys, this year. And, they shoot me right back. So I'm just real proud of all of them. And the NFL's in a good place because of a lot of these great young coaches.
And, I switched gears a little bit, go back to my time here with Houston. Obviously, I signed here with you as a free agent, came here. And like you said, we was close a couple of those years. Just think about, obviously you went on to win it eventually in Denver. But just, how it reaps on you a little bit of times in your mind. You're like, man, we was that year. Because as players, we sit and talk about it all the time. Like, man, if Shaw didn't go down, or if this, or if that.
Yeah, we were really good, boy. And we went to Baltimore that year and got beat. What we get beat by 6, and we were missing Matt. TJ did a great job, but in this league, it's hard just to get close. Yeah. And when you get close, you miss that window, man. It's so damn hard. But we had a lot of fun, and things worked out. I got to speak at a thing tonight, and as I was getting ready to think about what I'm going to talk about. I was thinking about one of the most disappointing times in my coaching career. Obviously, it's when I got let go here. It was really, really hard. But the next 2 years after I got let go, when you're sitting there going, man, did I fail? Where's this thing taking me? The next 2 years of my coaching career, I was part of 27 wins, 5 playoff games, and a world championship. So God is good, took care of me.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Is there a time or a particular time where you felt like, okay, now I'm ready to be a head coach?
Well, I think you always think you are, when as you're growing up and stuff. The thing that I had going for me, working for Kyle's dad, for Mike, there were a couple of times I had opportunities. I went to Cleveland when they first moved back to the Cleveland to be the Browns. They interviewed me. I think I was close for the job. University of Colorado offered me their head coaching job, so I could have went to college route. Interviewed in New Orleans, but I always had Coach Shanahan there to basically say, hey, think about this, because you got a great job here. I'm going to take care of you. Keep working for me. We're going to win. You wait for the right job for you, and you'll know when it's right, but don't just take one to take one. So I think I benefited from his advice through my career with him. And then when this opportunity came up to go home, as tough as it was, taking over an expansion franchise, I think what there was to gain made it that desirable to me.
Okay, obviously coming here, in-division rivalry, Tennessee Titans. Guys went back and forth. They had a couple times to win there. But, nobody here in Houston can't forget about the time Dre and Cortland Finnegan. Let's talk about that as a coach.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've told that story too many times to Dre. He's probably tired of hearing it. But, no, we did. We had some great games with him, man. How about Dre that day? They beat us on VY's quarterback draw here, man. I remember, dang, man, that was hard. But then I remember us going down there like early in the season and beating them. But great rivalry because of the, we all know the situation. But, Dre and Cortland went at it all the time. I mean, he followed Dre around on the field, and so it was very competitive. And you play each other a lot in the NFL, and you get tired of each other after a while. And, he stood behind me and told me I got to do what I got to do, Coop. So hey, what was I going to say?
No doubt. What are the few Texan moments that you probably may think about on a regular basis as you've been a head coach here?
The biggest one I'll always think about was the first playoff game in the stadium. Played your old team, man.
Cincinnati.
And Coach Zam, I remember Coach Zam was the D coordinator I was going against, and I've been going against him many times, he and Marvin. But great game. I said this in your Hall of Fame presentation. I remember I think it was late in the third quarter when you double moved Pac-Man. We made a big play. Things kind of got going. I remember Arian going down them sidelines. Man, this place was loud now. Yeah. And, I think you're just proud saying, okay, this is what this league's all about. And this city's getting to experience that again. These players are getting to experience that again. So I think at that time we knew, hey, we got a chance here. So that will always come up.
Tell us who are some of your greatest coaches of all time.
Well, it's easy for me to talk about head coaches. Bill Walsh, I was around briefly in San Francisco. He was amazing. George Seifert, who was a Super Bowl winning coach. I'll tell you guys, when I worked for him, You know all them cards that you draw for practice, so you go practice? Yeah. He made me draw every card, offense and defense. That's where I learned ball, man. I mean, he worked the heck out of me. But I'll go back. I'm going to tell you guys about one coach that I was around that not many people know. He was one of the greatest football coaches I've ever been around. His name was Alex Gibbs. Now, Dre, he passed through here.
Yeah.
He was my offensive line coach in Denver when I was a coordinator. I was a young coordinator, and Alex is about 20 years older than me. He'd beat on me every day. But he taught me so much about football. He taught me so much about offensive football, coaching players, dealing with players. And a lot of times head coaches get a lot of credit, but there are so many great assistant coaches, and I know you guys could sit here and talk about them. They've given so much to players and to the game that nobody ever hears about, and he would be the one that came to mind.
It's funny you bring him up because he's a person like I'll talk about. I've never – so I remember when he first got here, and I used to see him on the sideline, and he can always, tell where the ball's supposed to hit at. So I'm like, how in the hell is he seeing this like this from the side? So what I started doing sometimes, like in the preseason, when I wasn't playing, I just walk up on the side of him just to, listen to him. And I remember one game, I don't know if you remember this, we played Denver, and I don't know, we was just kind of throwing it. We weren't really running it too much. He got pissed at halftime. So, but me and Vontae speak about him a lot.
And there's an interesting story about him, and we lost Alex about a year ago, but he was a history professor. He had 3 or 4 degrees. He was a brilliant man. Went to Davidson College, and what I learned from Alex was that coaching was teaching.
Right.
That's what I learned. I thought coaching growing up, we all thought the guy just went out there and hollered at everybody, and all of a sudden I turned around and said, man, you got to go in that room and you got to be able to teach, man. And I watched that guy teach, and I was just so impressed with him, and his perspective on the game and what it took to be successful rubbed off on me in many, many ways, and I miss him.
As players, talking to the young players, I look at you as a player's coach, but you also know how to choose some also. So talk to me about, the fine balance that you have. Obviously, everybody's not treated with the same core. We all know that's professional athletes, but just talk about the balance of being, looking out for the players, but at the same time setting the foundation.
I think the greatest compliment, for me, that you can pay a coach is when you talk about how hard his team plays, and that meant a lot to me. So, yeah, I always had player in me because I played, and I know how hard your job was. You guys, your job, and I cared about you. But if I ever saw us failing that way, not giving everything we have, not playing hard, not preparing hard, those things could set me off because, I wanted it to look the right way. I could handle any result as long as we did things the right way. And, it's funny you say that because I look at the guy doing it now. And, he's one of my favorites, and I know he's one of y'all's too. But don't let that smile fool you now. Because he's going to get after them, and they're going to play hard, and they're such a great reflection of him when you watch them play nowadays. So having your team play hard and caring about your players, 2 greatest things a coach can do.
It's funny you say that about him, chewing us out sometimes, because I remember
that
one
long
day.
walk from the back waist.
I remember he started practice over 5 or 6 times one day. I don't know what was happening. I don't know if we just kept messing up on one play or somebody would jump off sides. And he's like, just start over. And I'm like, oh, my God, we're going to be out here all day. But if it was one word that you had to use to describe from your playing career all the way through your coaching career, what word would that be?
God, man, that's tough, Dre. Perseverance, maybe. I think, it's like this thing I'm going to do tonight at this touchdown club. I'm sitting there thinking, why am I getting this award tonight? And I really think it's just from kind of putting one foot in front of the other for a long time. I've been around good people, been around great coaches, great players, and I just tried to go to work every day and bust my tail. And, God, the game's been so good to me. So really just hanging in there. You guys know, if you play long enough, you're going to go through some tough times. But if you hang in there, you're going to go through some great times. So I think it's all about the big picture when you're said and done. I'll be 63 tomorrow, and I wonder where in the hell time went, But I just kind of stood the test of time. Had a lot of fun with you guys.
Absolutely. And like I was saying, it's funny, even when you think about all the times. Like I was pissed off when you first went up to Denver. I was happy for you, but it was like, man, we had it. He go up there with Peyton Manning, he get the Super Bowl. I'm talking about we was big mad. But congratulate you on it. Awesome career coaching plan. You're a legend, a walking legend. Obviously talk about a little bit about playing with another Houston legend, coaching with Wade Phillips.
Yeah,
it was a good friend of mine, so it was kind of like incredible for me to just not thinking about it, looking back on knowing that you're a local legend. His dad was here, he's a legend.
I tell you what, I started being a hell of a lot better head coach when Wade started running defense. It takes a lot of things in the NFL to be successful. It can't just be one side of the ball or the other. You got to do it all kind of ways. And I was very fortunate that I had people like him around me. So, hey, being with you guys, being with guys like Wade, made my life easy.
Well, I'll say this to end it up. I feel like you don't think you're a legend, or you may not put yourself in that, in that category, but you meant a lot to a lot of people. Just looking at some of the guys that you coached and hearing them talk about you in a way people respect you. Look how many Hall of Famers you've coached. Like, it's a tremendous honor to be coach and play in 7 Super Bowls. Like, many people can't say that, and that's why I say, like, when I really looked at everything that you had, your resume, I was just like, damn, like, I was surprised, so I had to do my research.
No, it's God, man, I'm so humbled, you guys having me saying stuff like that, but man, I just feel so lucky, really do, and I don't know that I did anything special. I just know I kept going to work all the time, like I said. And, we all get very fortunate when we're around great people. Great things can happen. So I'm a product of that. And, boy, I miss it because time flies. But can't wait to watch DeMeco and this football team go to big-time things this year.
All right, we appreciate you for stopping by and hanging out with us, man.
You may be the coolest podcast guy I've ever been with. So. No, I appreciate you too. Great players, but good men. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you, cool.
Thank you, Coach.